Passions were running high in the expensive and luxurious Fearon's mansion. 20-year-old Jill was in a heated argument with her father, a famous and respected surgeon. "Dad, what does it mean that I urgently need to get married? Who needs it, me or you? I don't understand anything. You have been controlling me my whole life, not letting me breathe freely, surrounding me with nannies and guards. I am no longer a child, and I can decide for myself whether it's time for me to get married or not. And I will choose for myself the man I truly love with my heart." But Mr. Fearon was uncompromising and stood his ground. "Why are you raising your voice to your father? You've completely let yourself go. I have never wished or done anything bad for you. You always have everything best thanks to my efforts. And I know better who you should be with. Pay attention to Peter Dolan, a very promising young man. His father is a well-known deputy. He is only 20, and his father has already given him a luxurious car and an apartment. Surely you will live like a queen without any worries." Jill flared up even more. "Never! I can't stand that pretentious braggart who spends his father's money right and left. And who is he himself? A zero. He's still young, hasn't found himself yet," Mr. Fearon parried. "But after all, I fully support you too, don't I? You also drive a good car and wear branded clothes, just like him." "Exactly," Jill almost shouted. "And I don't want that. Let me live my own life, not yours. I want to achieve something on my own, fall in love, do what I want, engage in what I like. But you just don't hear me." The girl ran to her room in tears and fell on the bed. She took her mother's portrait that always stood on her nightstand and hugged it, whispering, "Mummy, why aren't you with me? You would understand me. Why is he like that? His love suffocates me. I can't take it anymore." Jill looked at her late mother's face, closed her eyes, and felt her warm, soft hands, quiet and affectionate voice, and gentle smile. Jill's mother died a long time ago, when the girl was in first grade. It all happened suddenly. She had meningitis and burned out in a couple of days. Jill missed her mother terribly, cried, and nothing made her. Her father threw himself into work, suddenly got rich, and opened his own clinic. He was already a famous surgeon, and people signed up for surgery months in advance. For his beloved and only daughter, the man spared no money or effort, hiring the best tutors and nannies, buying only the highest quality and expensive gadgets and toys, and taking her on vacation to the best resorts. But at the same time, he controlled every step of the child. This always annoyed Jill, as she couldn't run around with the neighbourhood children or ride a bicycle with them. First, nannies were following her, then an invisible driver who seemed to be everywhere. Jill had often run away from his watchful eye, for which she received a scolding from her strict father. He also controlled her studies very strictly, not allowing her to be lazy or skip classes, and as a result, Jill graduated from college as an economist. "Well now," thought Jill, "I can relax and live my own life." But it turned out that her father's next plan was her urgent marriage. It was the final straw for the girl, and she had a big fight with her dad. Mr. Fearon knew his daughter's obstinate and stubborn character, so he didn't delay and invited Peter's family over for a dinner party the following day. The supposed groom was fashionably dressed, boasted incessantly about his recent surfing trip and participation in a beer festival. His father nodded approvingly, even though he was so fat that he could barely fit in the chair. Mr. Fearon, in turn, praised Jill in every way and told how clever she was, that she had recently graduated with honours and was the best in her class. Then he smoothly moved on to the main point. Well, our children have grown up. It's time to get them married. What do you think? In my opinion, they will make an excellent couple. Both young, beautiful, smart, just stunning. Well, your Jill is a beautiful girl and your family is decent. I agree that that's a great idea to connect our families. What do you think, Peter? Do you like Jill? The girl erupted in indignation. She was traded like a horse in a circus. It was unheard of. Peter had already mentally imagined how he would tame this beautiful and such a stubborn girl. He grinned carnivorously, saying, I like her very much. Let's consider the courtship complete. When should we celebrate the wedding? Doesn't anyone care about my opinion? Jill asked angrily. Her father hurt her foot under the table and replied as softly as possible, My dear, I only wish you happiness. Peter is an excellent match. He will be a good husband to you, and I will be calm about your future. Jill jumped out of the table as if scalded and ran to her room. Her father shouted angrily after her, Jill, where are you going? Come back to the guests immediately. It's not polite. But the girl insolently replied, My head hurts, probably from happiness. In her room, Jill called her best friend Megan and, swallowing tears, began to tell her about her sorrow. Can you imagine? He wants me to marry that arrogant peacock Peter. I can't stand him. He only knows how to party in clubs and waste his father's money. Why do I need such a husband? But my father seems deaf and blind. He only sees their money in front of him. He invited them to dinner yesterday. I hardly survived it. I don't want to marry him. It's insane. So what should I do, Megan? I'd run away from home. God help me. Her friend was always distinguished by unconventional thinking and creative ideas, and jokingly suggested, Why don't you just get engaged to a beggar to spite your dad? Maybe he'll leave you alone then. It'll be a riot. Jill was shocked. With what beggar? Where do I find one? Megan shrugged. Are there not enough of them on the street? Bargain with anyone to play along. Give him a little money and we'll put on a show. We'll invite our friends, shoot it, and take some photos. Okay, I'm kidding, don't be mad. I just had a silly idea. You know me. But Jill suddenly cheered up. You know what? It's not a silly idea at all. I'll tell my father that the wedding with his Peter is cancelled because I'm already engaged. Maybe that will help. I don't know how to reach him anymore. I'll go look for my groom right now. Now Jill was not crying but laughing, vividly imagining this scene. Rushing, she dressed up and ran out through the backyard onto the street to avoid her vigilant father's notice. She searched around the city for a suitable candidate, never considering the unfortunate vagrants who begged for alms at the metro or rummaged through garbage bins. However, the more Jill scrutinized those drunken and wrinkled faces and felt the unpleasant odor emanating from the homeless, the faster her enthusiasm disappeared. She couldn't even imagine such a person next to her, even as a joke. Suddenly, near the square, the girl spotted a young and cheerful guy in a cap and worn-out jeans with holes. He played simple tunes on his guitar, while his curly dog danced on its hind legs for the amusement of the public. Next to him was a table with a glass, where passers-by who were touched by the concert threw some money. The guy was successful, and some even applauded him. Despite his vagrant lifestyle, He didn't look like a down-and-out alcoholic. His clothes, though old and torn in places, were clean. Here he is, my ideal option, Jill thought. She approached the vagrant, smiled enchantingly, and put a large bill in the glass. The guy winked back at her when he saw the generous gift and unexpectedly sang a song about a beautiful dream girl. Passers-by immediately stared at Jill, who involuntarily blushed, while the guy put down his guitar and introduced himself. "Thank you, lovely strange princess. You are so beautiful. I've only seen such girls in magazines. I'm David, and this is my faithful friend Rex. Hey, buddy, give her a paw, say hello." The dog stretched out its paw to Jill, who laughed and patted him in response. "How funny. I'm Jill. David, I didn't just come up to you for nothing. I have some very unusual business for you. Can you play the role of my fiancé for one evening? I'll pay you well." The guy was amazed and stared at the stranger. "Wow, I've never been offered such things before, and by such a beauty. All right then, tell me what to do. It's even interesting now." The girl blushed again. "You see, my father has been overly protective and controlling of me since childhood, and now he's found me a fiancé, a rich and conceited snob, and I can't stand him. He's just so annoying. How can I marry someone I don't love? So I want to make my father refuse that stupid idea. I'll rent a restaurant, invite friends and photographers, and you'll come there. You'll say that you're my fiancé, you'll propose to me in front of everyone, and we'll pretend to be engaged. I'll buy the ring myself, and don't worry about your appearance. Wear some shabby clothes. Then the wedding with the snob will definitely fall through, and my father will leave me alone. So what do you say?" David smiled cheerfully. "Sure, it's easy, I agree. I even understand you very well. Why torture yourself if there's no love? Anyway, I sympathize with you. You have money but no freedom. I, on the contrary, have all the freedom but nowhere to live and nothing to live on. Such a paradox. Tell me when and where to go. I won't let you down, don't worry." Jill suddenly worried. "Oh, where do I find you? You're here and there, and you don't have a phone, I bet." David laughed. "I really don't have a phone, and I live in a janitor's storeroom near the bookstore. He took me in there. There's a couch and bedding, and there's also a mattress for Rex. And instead of rent, I sweep the courtyards at dawn when no one can see me. You'll find me there, if anything. Well, goodbye, fiancé. It's time for me and Rex to go. See you." Jill immediately called Megan and told her everything. They both started careful preparations, ordered a banquet at a restaurant, invited close friends, acquaintances and photographers. Jill bought herself a gorgeous dress with a huge cutout on the back and high heels. On the eve of the event, Jill gave her fiancé an exquisite ring and a red box. And so the show began. All the guests gathered, photographers on high alert. When David arrived at the restaurant, he was initially not allowed in due to his old worn jacket, but Jill personally gave the green light to let the young man in. David was amazed seeing his bride in her evening dress and with an exquisite hairstyle. He approached her, hugged her casually in front of everyone and said, "You look like a goddess in this outfit. I'm speechless. But to be honest, in jeans and a windbreaker, you're a natural." Later at the festive table, he took out a red box from his pocket, got down on one knee, as tradition dictated, and gave such an emotional speech that even Megan, who knew about the show from the very beginning, was left speechless. Looking into Jill's eyes, David said, My beloved, gentle, cutest, and most beautiful one, will you marry me? I promise to take care of you, carry you in my arms, and not let anyone hurt you. Do you agree?" "Yes, I do," Jill replied, and the young man put the ring on her finger. The exciting moment was immediately snapped by photographers. Despite the stunned and surprised faces of the guests, the celebration continued with feasting and dancing until they dropped. Why waste the opportunity? Jill and David had a great time and danced to the lively music. The guy turned out to be so simple, it was easy and free with him, and she could be herself. Towards the end of the evening, Jill became very nervous. "David, I'm so scared now. I can imagine the scandal that will happen. My father will kill me." "Jill, tell me, aren't you tired of living like a puppet, following your father's orders?" David asked. "You live someone else's life. Screw the wealth, leave home, start your life from scratch and finally be yourself. Take a risk. You're a cool girl. I really like you, but I feel sorry for you. I would really like to show you a different, free and unrestricted life that you know nothing about." The girl thought long and hard about David's words, and indeed, no one had ever asked her what she wanted, who she wants to become, how to live. Everything was always decided for her by her influential father. Maybe it's time to change everything. If not now, then when? In the morning, Jill woke up to her father's furious screaming in her ear. Her head hurt from yesterday's champagne and her legs ached from dancing. Mr. Fearon was shaking the local newspaper over her head. "What is this? What kind of engagement is this? And who is this tramp next to you? Have you lost your mind? Explain yourself. Get up immediately." Jill's sleep was taken away instantly. The newspaper men were quick. "Daddy, this is my engagement. My fiancé's name is David, so there can be no talk of a wedding with Peter. I'm relieved about that. I'll marry this tramp if I have to, but not Peter. Is that clear to you? And if you pressure me, I'll just leave home." Mr. Fearon was furious, tearing up the unlucky newspaper into tiny pieces, and continued to rage. "Do you even understand, you silly girl, what you've done? Now the whole town will be talking about how the daughter of a famous surgeon is marrying a tramp. You've ruined my reputation. You say you'll leave home. Well, go ahead and roll to your tramp. You won't get a penny from me. Got it? You'll cool down quickly and realize how much good your father did for you." The infuriated man stormed out of his daughter's room, and his phone was already ringing with calls from Peter's father. A serious conversation was brewing, as almost everything was ready for the wedding, and even distinguished guests were invited. And now all this. Jill was crying and packing her suitcase, taking only the most necessary things. She decided to sell her jewellery and not to take money from her father. Then the girl rented an apartment on the outskirts and moved there. She didn't know what to do next. In her new place, in a modest one-room apartment, Jill felt wild and unfamiliar, so she decided to visit David. She wanted to tell someone about everything. These new changes in her life were very unexpected and abrupt, and they scared the girl a lot. David was genuinely happy to see her. "Oh, hi, fiancé. Rex, say hi. Do you want tea? Why are you so sad?" Jill almost cried. "I left home and had a fight with my dad. He yelled at me so much. He blocked all the cards and said I'd be crawling back soon. I'm okay with that, but it's also weird to me. I don't know how to live on my own. I'm used to obeying my dad and doing what he says. Where do I start? What should I do? I feel like a fish that was thrown on the shore, gasping for air." David immediately made a decision. "You need some time to recover. Adapt. Let's not think about anything for a week or two. Just live. And I'll show you everything I know about freedom. Then you'll decide what to do. Agreed? All right. What do we need? Matches, a blanket, bread and potatoes. That's it. Oh, and sausages and my guitar. And some tea in a thermos. Now, we're all set. Let's pack up quickly and follow me." Startled, Jill asked, "Where? I don't understand anything." David winked at her. "Don't drift away, fiancé. I won't hurt you. I'll show you such beauty that all your jewellery will pale in comparison. Come on, don't be shy." And they went on a hike. At first they hitchhiked and David entertained the driver with merry songs instead of money. Then they walked for a long time along the winding paths outside the city into the woods. And finally, when it started to get dark outside, David exclaimed, "All right, we're here. Come here, Jill. Look, what a view from up here. What a beautiful sunset. What nature. There's a stream with natural spring water nearby and a lake. This is my favourite place. I used to come here a lot when I was a kid. Nature heals and calms. It fills the trees with energy. The free wind. Can you smell the freedom?" Jill rarely looked at the boundless dark sky with feather clouds, the huge red sun slowly disappearing over the horizon, the swaying mighty treetops, and couldn't get enough of it. It was so... Why didn't she notice such simple things before? It's not far from the city, but she had never been here before. Meanwhile, David lit a fire and started roasting bread and sausages on regular sticks carved from trees, and then potatoes in the coals. The girl enjoyed the feast in the fresh air and was amazed at how delicious it was. So simple and so tasty. Jill had never rested like a regular tourist, eating crispy bread with crust and tasty baked potatoes, sitting so soulfully by the fire, where she could be herself, sing along and not think about anything, just enjoy the moment. A whole week after that hike, Jill and David just walked hand in hand through the city, ate delicious vanilla ice cream, rode the merry-go-round, had fun and talked a lot. One day, David talked about his tragic fate. "My mother brought me to the orphanage at the age of 3. Like this, she led me by the hand, sat me on the porch and said, 'Goodbye, son. You're better off here. Forgive me. I won't be able to raise you.' She turned around and left. I remember crying and screaming when they took me to the orphanage, calling out for my mummy. I believed she would come back for me. After all, how could a mother forget her son? But it turns out she could. As a child, I was angry and hated her for a long time. But then I forgave her. In the end, I don't know what happened to her and why she had done that. So I have no right to judge her. Of course, the orphanage was a hell. I fought and bit my way to a place in the sun. When I became a teenager, I realized that if I stayed there, it would be the end of me. After all, most of the boys had already started drinking, smoking, and I ran away. And I've been wandering around the world ever since. Sometimes I'm welcomed here, sometimes there. Once I even lived in a gypsy camp for a month. They taught me how to sing and gave me a guitar. I take life easy and accept it as it is. In fact, a person doesn't need much for life. Just a crust of bread and a glass of water. There's a good saying, what difference does it make how old your shoes are? if you're walking in them through Paris." After his confession, Jill talked about herself. "And I'm just the opposite. My mother died very early when I was 7, and then my father raised me alone. He loves me very much, even too much. He always made all the decisions for me. I lived as if in a golden cage. Since childhood, I loved to cut hair. I even learned a few hairstyles myself. I even dyed and styled my friends' hair for different events. I really liked it, and it was my cup of tea. But as soon as I mentioned it to my father, I immediately heard, 'Don't make things up. What kind of hairdresser? Don't disgrace our family name. Go to the most prestigious college and be an economist, for example. That's a worthy profession.' And I became an economist. I was the top of my class, and everyone put me as an example. Only no one knew that I hated my lessons." Thinking for a moment, David suddenly said, "You know, you're the first person in my life who makes me want to try to change, to start living differently. Let's leave here to another city where no one knows us, and we'll start a new life from scratch." Jill said fearfully, "I don't know. Where will we live? I can't sleep here and there. Of course I have some money. I've sold my jewellery, but I'm afraid it won't last long." David hurriedly reassured her. "Jill, I'm not such a foolish person as to suggest that such a wonderful girl lead a vagabond life. I wanted to tell you something else. I really like you. No, not like that. I love you, and I want to be different with you. To leave, find a job, live together, have children. Understand? You've changed me in just a couple of weeks. I don't want to wander anymore, and I don't want to lose you." The girl blushed and turned red from such words. She replied, "I fell in love with you too. Do you believe it? From the first minute I saw you with Rex, in that square. You're not like everyone else. You don't care that I'm rich, who my father is, what people will think. You see me as a person, my essence, my soul, and that's priceless. And I like that about you. So, what are we waiting for? Let's leave tomorrow, before my dad starts looking for me. I can't hide from him in this city. I don't know why, but I believe you, even though I know very little about you. And I'm ready to take a risk and go on my own independent journey, together with you. Let's rent an apartment. I'll go to hairdressing courses. You'll find a job, and we'll live the way we want. No one will tell us what to do." David decisively pulled Jill towards him and kissed her passionately on the lips. The girl felt like the ground had disappeared from under her feet, and millions of butterflies fluttered in her stomach. She had never experienced such emotions with anyone before. 6 months had passed since then. As for Mr. Fearon, he had lost his peace and sleep. After a deafening scandal over the cancellation of the wedding, people started gossiping behind his back that his daughter was a silly, and instead of marrying a rich man, she ran away with some street vagabond. What a shame! The father hated that bum, even though he had never seen him once. How dare he take away his most precious treasure, his daughter? And what did Jill lack? Why did she do that? She had everything the best, unlike everyone else. But no matter how much Mr. Fearon was angry with his daughter for her antics, he missed her desperately. After all, for all these years after his wife's death, he could not love anyone else, did not let anyone into his heart, and therefore gave all the avalanche of feelings to his beloved daughter. Yes, he may have been overly worried about her, protected her, worried and monitored, but it was all out out of great love and the best motives. And now, without Jill, the house was completely deserted. The man wandered around the rooms in the evenings, drank bitter coffee, and often cried secretly while sitting on his daughter's bed and holding her silk pyjamas with funny bears, throne rushing. Mr. Fearon didn't really intend to drive his daughter out of his house. He just wanted to teach her a lesson. He thought she would come to her senses, wander in poverty, and then return home, start appreciating her father and thanking him. And it turned out like this. There had been no news from Jill, no call, no letter. The father's heart was bleeding. He worried about how his daughter was living. In the end, Mr. Fearon could not stand it and hired a private detective to find Jill. He wanted to go and give this bum a thrashing for taking away his daughter, and whether by fair means or foul, bring Jill back home. A week later, he got Jill's new address. Now she lived in another city and bore the surname Hughes. The man was shocked. So his daughter did marry that bum after all. Oh God, he needed to save his girl urgently. Maybe she needed something. Didn't eat enough. Mr. Fearon was even more angry with the vagabond and drove with a huge desire to destroy him. Until this David appeared in Jill's life, everything was wonderful. The man easily drove to the right address. It was an ordinary, multi-story building, a nice, quiet area, not a slum. He took the elevator and decisively pressed the doorbell. He was opened by that same bum, David. Only he didn't look like a bum anymore. He was fashionably trimmed and dressed normally, but outraged Mr. Fearon could not be stopped. From the threshold, he pounced on the guy almost with his fists. "Oh, you scoundrel! All the troubles are because of you. Where is my daughter? Where did you take her? Why did you appear in our lives? Jill, my girl, I came for you. Get ready immediately." David shook the man and calmly replied, "Good afternoon to you too. Let's not argue, but calm down and go inside the apartment." Jill rushed out on the noise and was stunned. "Dad, what are you doing here? Why are you yelling? Everything is fine with me." Only in the apartment, in daylight, did the surgeon examine the guy's face properly, and his jaw just dropped in amazement. The daughter's husband was the exact copy of a person that Mr. Fearon knew in his youth. Mr. Fearon began to whisper, "David Hughes. Exactly. What was your father's name and your mother? And why did you end up on the street?" The surprised David replied, "My father's name was John. He was, how can I put it, gently, a bandit. He was killed when I was almost 3 years old in some shootout. And my mother's name was Elizabeth. She left me in an orphanage. I don't know why. I still struggle with that question. Well, after barely surviving, I ran away at the age of 15. I wandered around the world. Only when I accidentally met your Jill, I fell so in love with her that I decided to start a new life. Now I'm not homeless. I work on a construction site. I'll finish school and then go on to further study. I earn enough." Mr. Fearon looked at him in amazement, then suddenly fell to his knees and began to whisper, "Forgive me, David, but I know why your mother left you and how your father died. You're just his spitting image. Forgive me if you can. I'm guilty of your fate turning out the way it did. What a scoundrel I am." David and Jill didn't understand anything. The woman thought her father had lost his mind due to nerves. "Dad, get up. What's wrong with you? What are you talking about? Here, drink. I put some calming drops in it for you." Tell me everything in order." The man drank the sedative in one gulp, breathed deeply, and began to tell. "I was the head of the surgical department. Many people in the city knew me, and then one day they brought a criminal authority, Johnny Hughes, directly to my house. He was seriously injured, dying. I immediately said that there was no chance of saving him, especially not at home, but he begged me to save him, and I tried. Although I removed the bullets, the bleeding still didn't stop. Johnny didn't have long to live, and I honestly told him that. Then he, overcoming the pain, whispered in my ear, 'Listen, doctor, I got a job for you. I have a summer cottage, so under the roof of the shed there's a bunch of money in a black case. Don't ask where it came from. Take a little for yourself, for your troubles, and take the rest to this address. My wife and son will have a hard time without me. Please give them everything else, I beg you. I can't ask my friends to do this. I know they'll take everything for themselves. But you're an honest man. You won't fail me.' And Johnny died in my arms. His friends were very disappointed that I didn't save their friend. They started to threaten me, but then they calmed down and took the body with them. At first, I didn't really believe Johnny's last words. I thought he was delirious. But curiosity got the better of me, and I went to that same cottage and found the case full of money. I came to his house to give the money to his wife and son, but they were at home, and then greed took over, and I didn't look for them anymore. I opened my own clinic, bought expensive equipment, got married, and everything started to spin. Family, work. Then my wife died, and I raised my daughter alone. And now, many years later, when I saw you, David, I realized what I had done. If I had acted like a human being back then, and still found you and your mother, then everything would have turned out differently for you, David. You wouldn't have suffered. You would have started a new life, and your mother wouldn't have had to give you up to an orphanage. Don't be angry with your mother. I'm the only one to blame. Only me. Forgive me, if you can." Mr. Fearon was terribly ashamed. He sat on the couch, covered his face with his hands, and silently burst into tears. David did not expect to hear such words from his strict father-in-law. He did not know how to react, only blinked frequently and remained silent, digesting what he had heard. Mixed emotions overwhelmed Jill. On the one hand, she felt very sorry for David. His fate was truly broken. He had no childhood, and it was because of her father. But on the other hand, she felt sorry for her father, who was now crying because he repented, recognized his mistake, understood everything, albeit late. The woman tried to ease the situation and said, "You know what? Let's all calm down and have some tea. Dad, I'll make you your favourite tea with bergamot. Don't ask me back, Dad, I won't return. You see, I'm here with David, absolutely happy. Yes, I'm not a cool economist, but an ordinary hairdresser. We don't have a luxurious estate, but an ordinary rented apartment. And we don't eat salmon with creamy cheese for breakfast, just ordinary oatmeal. But I really have everything I need. Work that I enjoy, a beloved husband. I don't need to please anyone. I am who I am, and I don't need anything else." Mr. Fearon looked at his daughter in surprise. Her eyes were burning, and it was clear that she was truly happy. It even offended her father a little, so why had he been trying all these years? The man suddenly realized that he really hadn't lived in this crazy, insane race. Everything was rushing somewhere, afraid not to have enough time, not to earn enough, while life was passing by. Maybe it was necessary to stop, take a breath, look around and just live, enjoying every day, rejoicing in simple things like his daughter does. David suddenly said quietly, "I don't hold a grudge against you, Mr. Fearon, I swear. I doubt that bloody money earned by gangsters would have brought happiness to my mother and me, and would not have saved the family. No, it's all about the person himself. No matter how difficult it is, not every mother will take her child by the hand and lead him to an orphanage. They will fight, learn to survive, go to work. But my mother gave up, broke down, got off the path, or something else, I don't know. Yes, I went through a lot, but you know, I still tried not to despair, to enjoy the sunshine, fresh buns, the free wind and freedom. But when I met Jill, something changed in my consciousness. I suddenly stopped wanting to live like a tramp. It was unbearable to part with her. I realized that this is the person I want to spend my whole life with. Love her, take care of her. You should be proud of your daughter, because money and wealth did not spoil her, and she did not become one of those glamorous, empty girls who only think about salons and resorts, but remained herself, preserved her soul. You don't find that often these days. The world is rotting. People have become demonic in their pursuit of fame and money, and have stopped appreciating what God gives. It's scary. And Jill and I continue to enjoy each other every day, in every little thing, even in ordinary things. You can find something positive. If it's sunny and warm today, great. We'll definitely go for a walk with Rex in the park, enjoying the gentle rays. Rain and cold are not a problem either. We make hot chocolate and sit together, wrapped in a warm blanket, watching a touching movie. A storm rages outside, but we're so cozy and warm, and that's also a little happiness. Mr. Fearon replied quietly, "I see that my daughter is happy. She lives modestly and simply, but she is happy. What a paradox. I only now understand what mistakes I was about to make if I had made Jill marry Peter against her will. And then it seemed to me that I was doing everything right, and if my daughter would be provided for, then she would be automatically happy. You're right, David. I really went crazy over money, over my career, and stopped seeing the soul, considering the interests of other people, just living. Even my beloved work has long ceased to bring me joy, although in my youth I took on every job with such enthusiasm, zeal, and sincerely wanted to save a person's life. And now I'm bogged down in paperwork, reports, and all this routine, although my calling is being a surgeon. My dears, don't drive me away. It's so lonely in this big house without you. It's so sad. Why do I need all this wealth alone? What to do with them? And also, David, I want to somehow make up for my guilt. Any of your desires, even the most cherished, I promise to fulfill. Think about it." The young man replied immediately, "There's nothing to think about. Help me find my mother. I want to know if she's alive or not, if she needs help. And just to see her, look her in the eye, talk to her, ask her why she did what she did back then. This question has haunted me since childhood, and I want to find an answer to it." "Okay, David, I hear you. We will find your mum, don't worry," promised Mr. Fearon. And as promised, he used all his connections and finally found David's mother, although it was not easy. She had been living in a church for many years. She worked hard and prayed day and night. At first the woman refused to talk to the private detective and the surgeon, and then David himself visited the priest. He listened carefully to the young man, then said, "Elizabeth has been living here for 10 years. They found her on the street. She was drunk and beaten, in a serious condition. I don't know why they brought her here, to us. Perhaps it was God's will. We don't keep people here by force, you understand. It's a personal choice for everyone. When Elizabeth came to her senses, we treated her, but she flatly refused to leave, saying she wouldn't be able to survive on the street. So she stayed here. She is a closed person. She hardly ever talked about herself. I'll try to talk to her, but if she refuses to meet with you, alas, I won't be able to help. I won't force her." David sat, worried. It was so calm and quiet within the walls of the church. Suddenly, the heavy oak door creaked, and a thin, tall woman in a black cassock and a scarf tied around her head appeared on the threshold. David looked into her eyes, the same cornflower blue, with a squint. He remembered them perfectly from childhood, and quietly said, "Hello, Mum. It's me, David, your son." The woman's eyes immediately moistened, and she fell to her knees and began lamenting. "David, my son, I recognize you. Forgive me, my dear one. I have a huge, indelible sin. I am so guilty that I left my own child with strangers. There's no forgiveness for me. I'll carry this cross to the end." She hugged him by the legs, and David immediately lifted his mother from her knees and hugged her. It finally happened. When he felt his mother's warmth, felt the wild beating of her heart, and breathed in the scent of incense, all the grievances, all the childhood sorrows, all the anger immediately disappeared and dissipated. He just held her like that in his arms and cried. And with each tear, all the bad, all the negativity left his battered soul. Then they sat on a high wooden bench and talked heart to heart. "When your father died, dark times came. Although he was a bandit, he protected his family. But after his death, some people came and said that Johnny owed them a huge sum of money and that I had to pay it back immediately or they would destroy us. I was scared and left the city with you for a while. I was crushed by the death of my husband and scared for you. Out of desperation, I started taking substances that I should never have tried. Day by day I sank to the bottom, and in moments of enlightenment I realized that I could hurt you. That's when I decided that you would be better off in a new family than with an addicted mother. Forgive me, son. I remember that day as if it were today, how you, poor thing, cried, screamed until you were hoarse and reached out to me. At that time I thought I was saving you, and that you would be better off here in the orphanage than wandering with me. But when I was all alone, I thought I would go crazy. Your cry and tearful eyes were ringing in my ears all these years. I desperately missed you, cursed myself, went down the wrong path and hit rock bottom. I no longer remembered my name, didn't care what I looked like or what I wore. And I no longer looked like a woman. I was just frantically looking for a dose so I could forget. One day I woke up in the church. They helped me here, cured me, and I refused to leave. I stayed here. I was afraid of that cruel world, knew that I was weak and could fall again. Since then I have been living here, working and praying day and night for you, my son. I have never forgotten you for a moment. My conscience has always burned with a hot iron, branding me as a scoundrel inside. I hate myself for that act, David. Forgive me if you can." The young man wiped away his tears with the back of his hand and said, "Mum, I forgave you a long time ago, I swear. When I was a child and other children beat me, when I was hungry and ran away, I was angry and I didn't understand why you had done that, and I desperately envied the children who had a home, a family, and loving parents. At 14, I finally ran away from the orphanage and never went back. I travelled to many cities and met all kinds of people, and I even learned to play guitar and sing songs from gypsies. I became good at it, so I travelled with my faithful dog Rex, earning a piece of bread with my songs. And then I met a wonderful girl, Jill, and she entirely changed me. We moved to another city, rented an apartment. I work as a foreman at a construction site and Jill is a hairdresser. We got married. We hope to have children soon. I'm glad I found you, Mum. I haven't been angry with you in a long time. I understand everything. If you like, you can live with us. Jill and I would be happy. I want to take care of you, love you, and make up for everything that was missed. Hearing this offer, Elizabeth shook her head and said, "No, son, I won't leave here. This is my place, my 8. Here my soul found salvation. I'm very happy that you've grown up to be such a wonderful person, that you haven't become bitter and gone down the wrong path like me, that you got married. I wish you and your wife only happiness, and I'll pray hard that the Lord will send you children. But I don't want to go back. I've committed too many sins in my life. I can't repent of them until I die. Goodbye, son. Go with God. Let me hug you one more time before we part. Know that I love you too, and I've never forgotten about you." Elizabeth crossed her son on parting and gave him her cross necklace, saying, "May it protect and guard you from all sorrows and troubles. Forgive me, my dear, for everything." The young man left the church, feeling an incredible relief in his soul, as if a huge stone had been lifted. Breathing even seemed to have become easier. He needed his mother's words that she loved him and had never forgotten about him. Everyone has the right to choose their own path. She can't be judged for that. The main thing is that he now knows where she is, that she is okay and under reliable supervision. Life went on, and David and Jill lived soul to soul. Mr. Fearon often visited them, and he entirely changed. He bought them a spacious apartment and sold his clinic. He donated most of the money to charity. He became a surgeon at the city hospital, and in his spare time he spent time with his daughter and son-in-law, secretly dreaming of grandchildren. Soon after starting his new job, Mr. Fearon met a good woman, a nurse named Helen. She was of ordinary appearance, plump, short, with a cute and open face. But the man fell in love with her soul, because Helen was such a kind and good person that it was impossible not to love her. They started dating and then moved in together. He introduced Helen to his daughter and son-in-law, and they quickly found a common language and often spent time together. They lived simply, like everyone else, but it was such happiness to wake up and inhale the aroma of something indescribably delicious and realize that you were not alone. Beloved Helen was busy in the kitchen making breakfast, or to fall asleep, cuddled up to the most precious person in the world. These moments are much more important and valuable than any money, fame, or honor, because they fill the soul and life with real meaning.